Although I have delivered some 1,000 sermons on almost as many discrete topics, one way or another, each circles back to a single theme. This tendency, I'm told, is not uncommon. Every minister worth his or her salt has at least one great sermon in them. It's no wonder that we return time and again to its familiar music and uplifting chords. Even church administrators pick up on their boss's penchant to repeat themselves. In certain instances, they have little choice. One of our storied colleagues, James Madison Barr of Memphis, Tennessee, had a habit of disappearing periodically, especially on Mondays and Tuesdays and sometimes Wednesdays, and Thursdays, when the office staff was composing and printing the weekly church newsletter. At the top of each newsletter, they included the sermon title for the following Sunday and a brief précis of its theme. Whenever Dr. Barr was missing in action and necessity forced the Memphis church administrator to be creative, she listed his forthcoming sermon as follows: The Great Mystery. James Madison Barr preaching. What Dr. Barr will be preaching about this Sunday is a mystery, but we're certain it will be great. Whether great or no, my recurring sermon too is filled with mystery. Time and again, I return to the abiding themes of love and death. I had planned to preach to you today on religion and democracy, the topic I shall be exploring this evening at the Knippa lecture at the Lutheran Church. There I shall be sounding the themes of my new book on America's first great culture war. As a teaser, I'll tell you only this. In the early republic, the Unitarians lined up with the Congregational and Episcopal church establishment on the religious right to demand a seat for God in government. In the vanguard of the religious left back then, spearheading Thomas Jefferson's crusade for church-state separation were, brace yourselves, the Baptists. In fact, the Baptist political lobby forced a reluctant James Madison to introduce legislation that led to the Bill of Rights and our First Amendment guarantee of freedom of conscience. It's a great untold story, but it will have to wait until this evening. Marlon requested that I open instead my heart to you today. Having been welcomed so warmly by this congregation over the years, I told him it would be a privilege to do so. Over the past year and a half, I've been battling esophageal cancer. In November of 2006, they removed my esophagus, and we hoped with it every trace of the cancer that was bedeviling me. After enjoying a year of fine health, a week ago, I learned that the cancer had returned with a vengeance, having spread to my lungs and my liver. I shall undergo a regimen of chemotherapy, more for palliative than curative reasons, but must face the certainty that my cancer is terminal and the great likelihood that my future will be measured in months and not years. In more than one respect, I feel very lucky. 16 months ago, my family and I had a dress rehearsal for the drama that we are now entering in earnest. My wife Carolyn and our 4 children were then able to begin working through the complex feelings that always accompany the loss of a family member, especially a parent. As for me, I have greeted every day since my reprieve and shall greet the days to come as gravy. Goodness knows, I'd far rather preach to you this morning on religion and democracy, or even hear Dr. Barr opine on the great mystery. But as John Lennon put it the week before he was assassinated, life is what happens to you when you're busy making other plans. So here I am once again, preaching my familiar sermon on love and death. A longtime member of All Souls Church in New York City, Damon Brandt, has compiled, unpublished yet, a stunning book of photographs, a series of candid portraits that he took of his father last year in his deathbed, with nurses and family at the bedside or waiting in the wings. Called simply Hospice and free of textual adornment, Damon's unsentimental yet deeply moving record touches the heart. Why does it move those who never knew Damon's father? Because, I think, his death is our death also. We are never closer than when we ponder the great mystery that beats at the heart of our shared being. When grandparents, parents, even children died at home, death was an inescapable presence in our lives. Today, shielded by intimacy with death by the cold, mechanically invasive and antiseptic chambers of hospitals, we lose touch with how natural, even sacramental, death can be. If we insulate ourselves from death, we lose something precious, a sense of life that does know death, that elevates human to humane, that reconciles human being with human loss. The word human has a telling etymology: human, humane, humanitarian, humility, humble, humus. Dust to dust. The mortar of mortality binds us fast to one another. All true meaning is shared meaning.